Blenders, and welcome to episode number 244 of ReelBlend, a podcast that kicks off 2023 with the return of a very special guest, friend of the show, Mr. Tom Hanks. On this week's show, we're going to be discussing the return of the Golden Globes, and we're going to break down the wins that mattered the most and a couple of the losses that turned our heads. We're going to review A Man Called Otto, and because that film is reaching theaters, an interview we've been teasing for a little bit is finally going to air on the ReelBlend podcast. It is Tom Hanks coming back to ReelBlend to discuss not just Otto, but his career and his time spent with the Chuckle Club. And as you guys will see, this is less of an interview and more Tom Hanks breaking our chops for 30 minutes in the best way possible. My name is Sean O'Connell. I'm the managing editor at Cinema Blend. I'm joined each week, as always, and in the year 2023 by Jake Hamilton of Fox 32 in Chicago and the biggest Tom Hanks fan on the podcast. Hi, Jakey. How are you?
My man, we say this all the time, but like the fact that somehow I live a life where I was in London, wrapped an interview with James Cameron, and before I did an interview with Harrison Ford, I got to sit down with my best friends and hang out with Tom Hanks. The fact that that is an actual, accurate, true statement and not just a Mad Lib, hopeful, pie in the sky fantasy dream blows my mind. And it's a little of appreciation and a good attitude to start out 2023.
Pretty wild. And then Kevin McCarthy of Fox 5 in Washington, D.C., who is hoping that we get Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer later this year.
Yeah.
Welcome to 2023.
Good to see you guys. I think the last time we did an actual show, I think I left early to go see the Oppenheimer trailer.
That's right.
And it was phenomenal.
We talked so much shit when you left.
I know. I need to go back and listen to it. No, but I'm very excited about that. But yeah, the Tom Hanks interview we did over a month ago. So we've been sitting on this for a while. Sean, I don't even want to oversell it. We'll get to it, but there's a lot of great stuff in there if you're a fan of his work. So absolutely.
Housekeeping. Oh, and hello to Gabe Kovach, who's joining the show in the producer's chair.
Wow.
Gabe's
oh, by the way, Gabe's here.
That's not true. That's not true. Gabe is integral to the show and to
I'm in the
to
shadows,
its success.
Jake. I'm in the shadows.
Gabe is also rocking an old school ReelBlend shirt.
Yeah.
Like, is this old school? You know, it's funny you say old school because I put this on and I said, we need to make a new t-shirt this year.
Is that the ones my dad made?
No, this is the one we did for charity. We did
charity. Yeah, that's right.
So we gotta, not to get too behind the scenes, we gotta talk about a charity we want to support this year and maybe put a shirt together. I don't know. It's 2023. Opportunities.
If that thing becomes a shirt, I would never take it off.
If what becomes a shirt?
If the thing that we were talking about, that potential idea that's been rolling around like a boulder. Wait, that's not an indie reference. The charity that we were talking about. I thought you were referencing. Never mind. Cut that whole part out.
Okay. No, I'll keep it in. Folks at home, what the hell is he talking about?
I don't know what Jake's talking about.
Okay, well, I'm just going to say that. The idea that we came up with for Tom Hanks.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, we haven't discussed that in a month and 2 weeks. I don't remember that conversation.
I remember every conversation we ever have.
About Tom Hanks. Anything to do with Tom Hanks.
If you're watching us on YouTube, hello. Thank you for joining us. You're going to get Tom Hanks in video format shortly. If you're just listening in your audio podcast format and you would like to see the visual aspect of the show, head to youtube.com/ReelBlend Podcast. While you're over there, hit subscribe. And then every Friday morning when the new show drops, right around 7:30 p.m. EST, do the math for whatever your time zone is. You guys can join the, what did I say, PM? 7:30 a.m.
You literally had a 1 and 2 shot to get it
right. Did I say PST or EST? I don't know. We're all really new to this. Again, we're going to be shaking off some cobwebs. We haven't done the show in a while.
We used to be an awards show.
Listen,
people don't know, we may have only been gone for 1 week, but we recorded everything like well in advance. So you haven't done an intro to a show in like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
And also,
last time we recorded a show, Avatar was #1 in America.
It still is.
It still is. Yeah.
I've determined that 2023 is going to be like a 50% year for me also. So I'm setting the bar like kind of
Aren't you writing a book?
Yeah, but
that's
like
all the 50%. The second half of the year, once he turns that in, he's doing nothing.
The brain is mush after that.
Also,
point.
I do want to mention Sean talks about our YouTube channel and the video portion of it. And like every week I do recommend checking out the video. I know a lot of people listen to our show via audio, but the Tom Hanks interview and some of like the interviews we've done recently, like with Damien Chazelle and Guillermo del Toro, it's really kind of cool to get the video aspect of it. I would recommend it just because it is a different feel, it's a different vibe. We're kind of all looking at each other. The Hanks one in particular, which I know we're going to get to shortly, there's just a visual component to that interview that I think would work really well. So maybe if you do listen to it on audio, definitely try and go home later and just, at least just pull that section of the show up. It's really fun.
I'll tease it this way. We get full like comedy actor Tom Hanks bits.
Physical comedy.
Physical comedy.
Like really funny physical comedy.
Sometimes I would argue, and it's, I'm not talking about myself, all of us, there are moments that he like is answering or talking about certain films where all of us just have visual reactions to what he's saying. And sometimes just like watching
away from you guys. I just kind of leave it on Hanks, you know?
Yeah, there's some like this is like Money Pit physical comedy level Tom Hanks stuff. Like it's classic Tom Hanks. It's great.
Also, and when you watch in the video, I do like when people take pictures of their television screens. And share, like, hey, I'm about to start
Anastasia,
cool.
right? Anastasia, one of our fans.
She does that. Yes, does that all the time.
Fantastic. I appreciate that tweet every week. Oh, you see it on the TV. It's cool.
It is very cool. All right, so why don't we throw to Tom Hanks? Gabe, you want to come in and give people a bit of a warning before we?
Yeah, just a quick warning. It's not like an official spoiler warning. It's a very casual conversation, as you will hear, and it's fantastic because of that. So I don't have timestamps to give you. It would kind of be laborious, and it wouldn't really help you that much. So I just want to give you a general warning that if there's anything in Tom Hanks's catalog that you've been waiting to finish or catch up on, he might touch on it here and there when he's talking about answering some of our questions. In particular, what I can say is he does go at length about Road to Perdition, talking a lot about certain character deaths and the end of that, and it is fantastic. And he gets into the weeds about some of the like underlying meaning of that. And so it's not, I really didn't want to cut it out and make it like its own separate thing. It would really take away from, again, how special I think this is. So I'm just giving you a general warning. I know that if you're super sensitive to that, this isn't the best way to handle it, but just, hover over that pause button, maybe if that's something you're concerned about. But if not, you'll live either way, I think, and it is fantastic. And
there's nothing like astronomical, nothing Marvel level spoiler. Like,
no, it's just like character deaths and stuff like that, which I would understand. If it can be upsetting in the moment. So I'm just letting you know that you may get spoiled on something you haven't seen that's 20 plus years old. But
exactly. All right, for the rest of you, continue on, because here's Tom Hanks returning to the ReelBlend podcast.
Oh, look at him. Look at these sad little. Which one is Sean? Which one is Jake? Which one is Kevin? Oh, I don't care. You're just three guys. I'm not going to remember your names anyways, guys. I'm too famous. I only hear my own.
Sir, this is the Chuckle Club, and it's Manny, Mo, and Jack.
I remember the Chuckle Club. Yeah, Manny, Mo, and Jack. Larry, Mo, and Curly. Marco, Chico, Zeppo, or as I like to call them, oh, Sean, Jake, and Kevin, they got together fast. Sean, Jake, and Kevin, they weren't going to ever last. There you go.
That's our new theme song.
That's good. That's all we need. We appreciate you. That's
ringtone.
That's right. Wouldn't that be great? Actually, that is a tune that is very expensive. You won't be able to merchandise. What is it? License that tune.
I can't get Playtone to help me out with that. Come on.
Well, it's transcribing those notes down right now, and it's going to be owned by my publishing company. That I make about 17 cents a year based on some soundtracks that I provide.
I guess that's just that thing you do.
That's right, my friend. Bang, bang. And by the way, if you're going to bring up any movie from the past, that's the only one I'm allowing. So don't bring up any of the other ones. All right?
We got it.
That's it.
We got you.
That's it.
We only have 30 minutes worth of splash questions. That's all we have.
Okay.
That's all we're
doing. Remember those?
Mr. Tom Hanks, what about Larry Crown?
Oh, well, come on now. Hey, come on. I love Larry Crown. Be kind. Let me tell you.
Nope.
There's a number of movies I'd make over again and again and again, and That Thing You Do and Larry Crown would be two of them. There's not a better way to spend your time.
That Thing You Do is such a great movie. Oh, I love that movie so much. I really.
Let us officially start this interview by welcoming you back. We are very happy to have you back on the show.
Good to be back.
We loved having you on for Elvis, and we're very excited to speak with you again. The three of us are in London, weirdly enough, for
Why?
the Avatar.
How come?
The Avatar world premiere.
Okay, great. Man, that's going to be
time
big.
with you.
So you're taking your time out from that mega brouhaha.
Right.
In order to chat with us, the sad little stepsister of Christmas releases.
I like to think we took a time out from we took a time out from Otto to be able to do Avatar.
Oh, there you go. I like that. Avatar.
Autotar.
Ottar. Starring Tom Hanks and Kate Blanchett in a melding of two different Autotar.
You gotta have the accent.
That's right. How many movies this year can have tar in the title? I think
not enough.
That's great.
Someone did make an Avatar poster with the tar, with the thing over it.
Was there like a blue creature going like this? big blue head. Big blue head. I can't wait.
Next to Jake Sully.
I can't wait. This is what happens at the end of the year, man, when all these movies start mushing together, I love it when you talk, here's inside baseball talk. You talk to the studio, they say, oh, no, you don't understand. We are really going to be promoting A Man Called Otto in late December and January. I said, oh, that's great. As opposed to every other friggin' movie out there that will be doing the same exact thing, but I'm sure we'll cut through the clutter. Isn't that right, staff? See, my staff agrees. They're agreeing that we're going to cut through that clutter.
The difference is that between your film and a lot of the other films right now is that your film is great.
That's true.
Hey,
that's true.
I believe that's a quote that's going on the poster. That's going to be on the one sheet.
The Chuckle Club.
Yes, credit to the Chuckle Club. Mr. Hanks, let's start here. In a movie that has a lot to do with soulmates, that has so much to do with soulmates, what does it mean to you to have Rita contribute a beautiful original song to the soundtrack?
Oh my God! Listen, I've been watching Rita. I have all the Rita Wilson's records, by the way.
I should hope so.
We're big fans.
I'm a massive big fan, and I've been carrying her lip gloss backstage now for over 10 years of public appearances, as she sings. Look, I am married to a woman who is an artist. She has always had this story to tell deep inside her, and she has always been searching for the right media that was most comfortable for her. And about 15 years ago, she found it in singing and songwriting, and she goes at it 24 hours a day. It's like living with Picasso, and she's always got a stub of charcoal, and there's always a piece of paper that she's always creating some sort of magic on. And she does it constantly. And it is not only a pleasure to behold because I like what the output is, but I also like the process. I like being with somebody who always has this other artistic bent in their head along with everything else. And the great thing for me is I don't pay any attention to it until literally this artist I'm married to says, would you like to hear what we've been working on? I said, if you want to play it, sure. I don't need to see process. I'm not interested in the process, but when you've got something that is close to saying what it is that you want to say, I get to hear it with absolutely, completely fresh ears. And so I hear something that is magnificent, just thematically, the way the song goes. It makes me want to ask her, did you produce this movie just so you could put the song at the...
I mean, you could just text her and ask her right now while we're in the...
Hey, dude, you're obviously not married and you don't know what that could open up now, do you? Do you? You don't. You don't. You ignorant single punk. You don't know anything about it. What I like is that both of these things were genuine. When we first saw the original movie, and let's not discount, A Man Called Otto is a magnificent, beautiful motion picture all unto itself. A Man Called Otto is a different thing, but let's not take away from the DNA. And both of us were watching that movie together, and I was thinking what Rita said. She said, this could really work in our country. This could really work as a movie that could speak to all of us. We don't have to be Swedish in order to get it, which is absolutely right.
Sure.
So we began pursuing, and I'm going to say, whenever that movie, it's probably like a 7 or 8 year process of the same thing that goes into the way she writes music and the way I write other things, which is it just percolates. It sits there and it just goes and goes and goes. And what happens is you get lucky and you end up adding other collaborators like Mark Forster and then David McGee and then everybody else that comes along with it. And the end result is a story, believe it or not, that we all wanted to tell. And even though we all have different, things to add to the pot, it ends up tasting exactly the way we all wanted it to taste.
That's a great quote. That's a good quote for the poster right there.
Right,
I like that.
You know, why don't you take it on your little Chuckle Hut website and say, here's some of the things people said to Bob and Steve and Doug, or whatever your names are. There's a host of whatever this is. Who are
He's
they?
right.
Kevin,
so
Kevin,
famous,
Sean,
he's
and
not gonna
Jake. Is
remember.
that their names?
Yeah.
Kevin, Sean, and Jake. For Step Brothers, I think you all get along pretty well. Whose mom married Dad first? Just curious.
Yeah.
Is that it? I don't know. Well, hey, we're all a happy family. We know how this all works out.
We actually are.
No
We're
judgment.
best friends. We met through doing press junkets, and we started a podcast 4 years ago because we all fell in love with movies the same way. That's why we're in a show together.
So what you guys did was you took one of the most appropriate processes known to humankind, which is a press junket, and you joined forces and actually made it better and more enjoyable.
If you say so.
I'm going to listen. You guys are now on my hit list as opposed to my shit list. So,
This interview is not over yet.
well,
sir.
okay, so give me time. All right, all right.
Let's wait.
Come on, you little
All right, here we go.
punks. Come
All
at me. Come at me.
All right.
Come on, get a piece of me. Which one do you want? Who wants to take me on first?
I'm going to ruin it right
This is a
now.
blast. Hey, can we do this for the rest of the day? Can we do this for like an hour and a half?
All of our
We
questions
do
are out
have
the
you for
door.
TV as well.
I'm going to be so grumpy for the rest of the day of this thing. Say, hey, well, you guys are no Kevin, Jake, or Steve or whatever Steve is.
Sean.
Sean, sorry, Sean.
That's okay. It's all right. It's Steve now.
By the way, I'm not wearing my glasses so the lights don't shine off my lenses, but honestly, all I see is 3 guys in dark jackets. Oh, I get you. Oh, okay. All right, very good. And you're
But
in
we also
London?
look the same.
And you're in London? Okay,
We're
so
in the same hotel.
Yes.
We're
I
within
was
like
going to
3 or
say
4
one
rooms of each other.
one looks like the Dorchester and one looks like the Westin, and the other one has been staying out by Heathrow in one of those kind of like days inns.
I'm in Heathrow.
Okay, very good.
I'm at Heathrow. No, I was kidding. Yeah, I want to bring this up because I'm going to turn this into a serious question. I actually genuinely
We're
want to
gonna
know this. There's a line that you say in this film that struck me, and I've been thinking about it since, about life being in black and white, and she was the color.
Oh, yeah.
And I just thought that was such a beautiful way to describe what it means to fall in love. And I just wanted to know what that line means to you. Do you feel like that in your own life? I would imagine like it's just a beautiful line. I just wanted to know what that line meant
Well,
to you.
it is one of those things when you read it, you say, oh, God, I wish I would have thought that myself. I wish I would have been able to put that in a card, to, someone. And I think it's true. Certainly it is true about when you stumble across, the soulmate that you find out this person completes the sentences that I start. And I do the same for her. But the other part of it too is certainly, your kids. If you have kids, it's the same sort of like unconditional thing. You can't imagine what life is going to be without them. And I think that what I got from that, and that's a line that Dave McGee wrote, and it comes out of, some sort of like his own individual artisanship, but also all the stuff that we talk about before we even start making a movie like this. And what I think it says is that, life, when you don't have that compadre, when you don't have that partner with you, life is binary. It's either good or bad. It's either a 1 or a 2. It's 0, 0. It's either, it's one thing or it's the other. Every day is either a good day that was okay or a bad day that was kind of rotten. But when you have that other person, you end up getting all the rest of the letters of the alphabet or all the other numbers that are in the cosmos. It's not just 1 or 2. It ends up being something that is shared and hilarious. The type of moment that on one hand could be horrible news that you can't face alone, but with somebody else, it's not that bad. Or, a disastrous moment that has turned into one of the most hilarious anecdotes for the rest of your lives together. I think that's what that means, and what that represents. And I think that it's kind of, can you say bullshit in this kind of thing?
You can curse as much as you want.
Can I say bullshit, staff? Wow. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if that's yes or no.
We're giving yes for yes for us.
But it's the type of thing that it's a type of like verbiage that goes into a screenplay that if you haven't earned that line, it's really going to stick off like a piece of a bad card that you bought by the cash register. And that it's actually quite dangerous. And and there's an awful lot of scenes in A Man Called Otto in which Mark and I and everybody else that was in it, we debated those moments throughout the course. I'll tell you, I won't tell you what scene it is in the movie, but it's Otto by himself at his house. And you'd set it up and we knew what it was and we knew how it went. And in the back of my head, I was thinking, okay, I don't think we've earned this moment in our movie yet. I think this is too presentational. It's too on the nose. There's no subtext to it. It's only text. And I'm thinking, this scene is fake. And Mark Forster comes in and he sits down next to me at the table. He says, I have this problem. He's from Switzerland, so I'm not ridiculing anybody's heritage or background. This is the accent that he talks with. He says, I have a problem with this scene because, I don't know, it just seems so fake to me. And I said, you are saying what is in my head. He says, so why don't we take all the fake stuff out of this and do it less fake? I said, Mark Forster, you are the first director I have ever worked with who has sat down on a set with me and said, please make this less fake. They usually want the absolute opposite. Can you turn the fakeness up a little bit on this? Tom, I know it's very realistic, but this is a movie and it needs to be a little bit more fake. And that line, what you're talking about, my life was black and white and she was a color. If you haven't done the work so that's an authentic moment that makes sense for the writing to come out of a character's mouths, then you're going to be you're going to be doing a disservice to the audience. And I
you earned it for sure.
Well, I think that the great amalgam of Dave and Mark and Rita and Renee Wolf and and Marianne and everybody else is in it. I think we all carried our weight in order to make that work.
Yep.
Wow.
I love that.
Tom, I'm going to get heavy for a second. I feel like there are a handful of your past few films that have dealt with the topic of death. I mean, you look at Finch, which broke my heart. Oh, Elvis, wow. The Colonel's literally telling the story from his deathbed, and Otto obviously does. You've died a few times on film. Which character death was toughest for you?
Which
character death was the toughest for you?
Yeah. I'll just throw that answer off. That's a real simple thing.
We got time.
Wow. You young punks. Who the hell do you think you are?
I'll do a junkie question. So what attracted you to the film?
So tell me about your movie.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah.
Were there any pranks on set?
You guys are brutal. See, you guys are press junket veterans. I know why you got together at some point.
We've been around
we know what not to do.
My favorite thing is, Tom, I haven't had the chance of seeing your film, but I'm really looking forward to it. Tell us a little bit about the making of it. That's always a
There's
fun one.
nothing like asking a question that your viewers can Google.
By the way, in the laziest Google search imaginable, it's literally 8. It's a TOM. That's 3. Hanks. Right. That's 5. That's 8 with 12 letters. No, actually, you only need 9. Hanks, Otto, and you got all the answers to everything that we've got. Every question.
But what you can't Google is which character death was the toughest for Tom Hanks.
Exactly. I'm going to tell you right now. To say that, oh man, that you guys are asking an impossible question, because here's the thing.
We're making you work.
You are. You Can you
Sons
say
of bitches.
can you say that?
This is
I didn't
bullshit.
say that. I didn't say that. Let me tell you this. Look, I love talking about movies without a doubt. It is impossible to talk about the process that an actor goes out when it comes time to make a movie, because we don't know. We just go there, and if you can be satisfied with that answer of, well, you go there. Someone said to me, what was the favorite film that you made? It's like, it's impossible to say, because the act of making a movie is actually a constant. It's like the speed of light. You have dialogue, you're there for a moment, and in real time, you have to capture this thing that is going to live forever because it's on film. And, it'll be referenced now for the rest of the time. What you can control, I think, in the course of making of a movie is the hang, the approach, everything, all of the details of where you are and who you talk to and how you approach your day. That's the only control I think an actor has in the making, the other harder part. So what you have to do is you have to go there. And there are two sides of playing a character who dies. One is what happens up to the point that they die, and then the other is after they've died. And after they've died is easy because you lay there. And everybody else has to do the work.
Sure.
And that is, you're providing a key element to the film. But if you haven't earned what they go through after that, you are in really, really big trouble. The other side of it then is what goes up to that. And they are all incredibly different, because rarely it's on occasion in motion pictures do you get what Baz Luhrmann gave me as Colonel Tom Parker is, before he goes, he's going to get to explain everything, Now, what goes along with that, though, is that is a one-sided explanation. That comes down to the legacy question. I am now going to tell you what my legacy is, so you won't think about it very much. So you'll give me the credit. You will actually think of me as I want you to think of me. And that ends up being the one-sided aspect of what a movie's editorial position is. So, it's a great question, because, been there, done that. And it's all about, is there enough investment in the moment of a character's passing in order to make the whole movie worthwhile? Because you're asking an audience to have sat there for a while and got involved in this story. And are you going to care, number one? And are you going to believe that the guy with the countenance to play Otto is actually going to take you to the place of a world without Otto in it? And, that's the whole Megillah when it comes down to whether or not the contract you have with the audience is going to be, worthwhile or bogus.
So when your character in Private Ryan is saying, earn this, you're saying it to every other movie that comes after you. Essentially. You're telling them, earn this moment.
Well, you're talking about a moment that does not work if it's just a line one says.
Yep.
But if, the thing I end up beating everybody up about is I get petulant the way actors, I don't believe it. I don't think I'd say that. I don't want to say that. I wouldn't do that. And someone on the other side of it says, hey, please just say it. Just say it. Just say the words. Just say it. Whether you believe it or not. And I have a big problem with a moment in any movie which I think is bullshit. Now, on that, my responsibility as an actor is to provide that reason. So it's like the old thing is like a director says, go to the window. And an actor says, I don't think I'd go to the window. Well, that's a cop-out, because you have to say, to the director says, go to the window. My job as an actor says, I will come up with a reason to go to the window. And you'll believe that I'm going to the window for a very specific purpose. All right. That's my job. So when you're going to say a few words at the end of the life of a character, My job is to make sure that thing is fraught with some brand of stuff that I only carry around in my pocket. So you either buy it or you have no movie.
Right. Not to like geek out about other films, but you telling Michael Jr. I know that he couldn't kill Jude Law in Road to Perdition is the one that gets me. When he couldn't pull the trigger, that's the one that crushes my soul.
Yeah, and there you have you just gave me chills because I got news for you. For one reason or another, no one references Road to Perdition. And that was a incredibly important movie for me.
Masterpiece.
For me to go through. No, it was shot by Conrad Hall, okay? Yeah. It has Paul Newman.
The best work of his career.
And you have me in it, Don Mustache with a hat on it, but you also have two of guys who turned out to be two of the biggest motion picture presences in the history of the industry, with Jude Law, with Jude Law and Danny Craig, both. Right. And I killed both of them. Isn't that right, staff? That's right. I killed both of them.
And you also kill some actor named Paul Newman.
I do indeed.
In the rain.
That's right. But the moment that you're talking about right there is that moment where hopefully the entire audience sees for the first time what Michael Sullivan has seen all through. I am on this road to perdition because my son cannot be the killer that I am. And one is he doesn't have it inside him. And number two, I am not going to sentence him to that life. Now you got me thinking about literally my skin is standing up on the back of my head.
This is Jake's favorite movie. This is Manny's favorite movie.
Wow, that's a biggie, man. That's a biggie.
That's a big one.
I got it. Sam Mendes as the director. That's a serious. People always say, so what do you think? What movies will they be talking about years from now? I said, well, like as a guy who watches Turner Classic Movies a lot, and the more obscure and unknown a movie from 1940s or the 1950s, the better, because I have no preconceived notions about it. I don't know anything about it. And when you watch one of those movies and it's crackerjack and it's incredibly moving, and all I can think of is this, I'm so glad this movie lasts forever, so I got a chance to revisit it now. And that might be the case with Road to Perdition.
Sam Mendes told me that when he goes to colleges and speaks to students and he uses his films as examples to show them, Road to Perdition is the film he uses to speak to students with.
Well, when in the realm of legacy, if someone said to me, "Hey, Tom, right after you die for real," and which isn't going to be for a while, isn't that right, staff? That's not going to be for a while. Thank you, staff. Come on. They say, would you like to have a film festival of your stuff, and what would it be? If somebody else chooses the movies, it would just be the hits. The ones that have, that play every Christmas and what have you. But I would actually say, there's a number of things that I would say that I got to go back to and delve deep into the realm of what I thought was presence and authenticity that was very, very, very particular to those specific characters in those specific movies. And most of them would be a number. I mean, if you had to ask me for five movies, one honestly would be That Thing You Do, because it is so filled with joy, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
sure.
And I hope that I'll have a bunch of movies that I'll still get to make that might be there or not. But I would say Road to Perdition would be one of those where I would just have to say, please look at the quiet here, Yes. Please look at the quiet, because, the other thing, too, is you guys are the first, and by the way, you have a few minutes, so you could blow this. Who don't ask me about, the nice guy quotient. I always play such nice guys. La, 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 la. I play a bad guy. It's all about logic for me. And the logic of Michael Sullivan, I think, is impeccable. The logic of everything he does and how he says it and how he experiences things and sees them for the first time. That's the high country as far as I'm concerned. It doesn't really matter whether it's viewed upon as being, a quote unquote success or whatever. It's in the zeitgeist, and that's the only thing that matters.
It's a masterpiece.
Mr. Hanks, before we run out of time, I want to ask you a big picture question, and I'm sorry about this, but this kind of fits with Otto. And I want to know if you believe in the concept of love at first sight, or if you think Otto picked up that book and got on the train just because he was annoyed that Sonia dropped it.
I got to go with love at first sight, guys. Only because I think if you were going to ask yourselves the same question, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, there's that. I mean, even if you do that, you're in that kind of like circumstance where you're working with somebody for a while, and somewhere like 8 weeks into the exchange, you realize, oh, I'm in trouble because I think about this person all the time now. And there's been nothing improper. It's only been, from a place of respect, or someone's in the same class I'm in, or someone's on the, working on the same press junket that I am.
Staff.
But there comes around a kind of boing in one's head. And even if you know each other, you haven't really looked at that person for the first time until that boing happens. So it is, it is a brand of love at first sight. Now, the truth is, does that love end up lasting for all of time, whether or not the relationship does or not? The fact is, it does, because you can't take away the power of what that love is, and you will always have a special love for that person, almost no matter how it turns out. So young Otto, seeing, believe me, he noticed the woman first, and then the dropped book second. So,
Good.
And by the way, if you're out there and you want to snag somebody, walk past them and drop a book.
Yes.
That's as good as spilling. That's as good as spilling wine on them. Oh, I'm so sorry, I spilled wine on you. Oh my God, hi, I'm Tom. What's your name? It's all a ploy. It's all a ploy.
In Chicago.
I dropped that book.
Walk around Chicago, just dropping books.
I dropped that book. Oh, I'm so glad you brought it back. That works all the time, doesn't it, staff? Yeah, right. It does. It does.
What if we drop a Tom Hanks book?
Oh, well, hey, you've got me. By the way, if someone's walking by with one of my books, I notice the book first. I don't care who's carrying it.
I'm going to get you out of here on this question because I have to ask you this, because I thought about my dad when I watched this scene. When you're teaching Marisol how to drive and the stick shift, my dad was insistent on making me learn stick, and I had to get my classes on stick. So now I'm curious, what was your learning to drive story, and did you also use that with your kids as well, like in terms of teaching them how to drive? How did you learn how to drive? Like, what was your story?
My first stick shift was a Volkswagen, and I just had to learn how to do it. No one explained. It was like, I'd seen people do it enough, and it's like that. The lug and kill it. You killed it. And you do that 15 times and actually have it in third. You don't have it in first, and that ratio of heel to toe and the gas and the thing like that. You just got to figure it out. That is actually easier to go through in a car by yourself than to be in the shotgun seat and explain. Yeah. What you're doing is, you are intermeshing the gearbox inside the transmission. So by letting up on the clutch, you slowly lower the teeth down. There's no way to explain that, because guess what? It's all going to be, okay. That was good. You let up on the gas a little bit more at the same time the clutch comes out. Okay. You actually had it in third, so put it back into first, the other way, put it back into first. No, you still have it in third. You have to push it down. You got to bring it back. No, you have to push the clutch in. You're still in third. No, you were still in third. You're still in. That's actually mind numbing. And here's what you must never, ever do. Take the girl who dropped your book and say, I'll teach you how to drive, because that relationship is not going to last, man. You're not going to survive. You're not going to survive the difference between being first and in third. You're not going to survive. By the way, can I tell you how hard it was to find a Chevrolet sedan with a stick shift in it?
Oh, wow. That's true.
Nearly impossible. I kept saying in pre-production, I said, you guys really think you're going to be able to find a Chevrolet sedan with a stick shift. Yes, they do make them. There are 6 of them. One of them is in North Dakota, and we are negotiating for it to come down right now. The other one does not work anymore, but we thought we had it for a while, but we're not going to be able to get. I said, guys, this is going to be so easy. Can we just make it a Let's make it a Fiat. Let's make it a Fiat. Let's make it an Austin Healey. Let's make it an old Datsun or something like that. No, come on, no way. And by the way, what did I do? What did I do the first time I drove Otto's car? What did I do, guys?
Did you stall out?
Of course I did. But actually, I wasn't going forward. I was going in reverse. So I literally, we're in the garage. I said, "Oh no, I'll get it, guys. I'll park. I'll take it back to number 1." And I did the whole thing. And I did this. And the Teamster captain had to come out and had a knock on the window. Said, "Tom, to get in reverse, you got to really push this gear shift down and bring it over."
And all the union guys are like, he has 2 Oscars, but he can't drive a stick shift.
No, exactly right. They're all over like. Oh no! Let number 1 on the call sheet move the car back. let him do it. They were merciless. Then every time after that, I was yelling, "All right, guys, get out of the way! I'm driving the car to number 1. Get out of the way! This is mine. I got this."
Your team is screaming at us to wrap.
Okay, all right. Sure. Are we done? Are we done, staff? Are we done, staff? Are we done? Wow. Oh, so evidently we are. I'll have to translate that.
You get us for TV in a few minutes.
Oh, hey, great. Okay, good.
Well, we love having you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's great. I appreciate it because, look, we're just talking about movies, but there's some serious stuff that you got to touch on every now and again because
we're trying to.
This is an art form that we all love being a part of.
Absolutely. And we would love to have you back anytime, sir.
All right. Well, listen.
Talk to you again soon.
Listen, Jerry, George, and Kramer, it's just wonderful to talk to all of you. I'm sure
please don't let me be Kramer.
I'm sure we'll do it again.
I want to be Jerry.
Yeah, I think an Elaine would be good, guys. And Elaine wouldn't be
Jake,
bad.
can you get the slide? Can you slide into the room, Jake?
And Elaine would be pretty good, actually. He's right about that. Thank you, Mr.
Thanks, guys. Nice talking to you.
We absolutely have to thank our friends at Sony Pictures for hooking us up with Tom Hanks and
the
just
staff.
to give you guys a bit of a
the staff.
To give you guys a bit of a little bit of behind the scenes, peek behind the curtain, how this came together is, and this is going to allow us to toot our horns briefly, in the sense that the previous interview that we had with Tom Hanks, which was for Elvis, went so well. Like, we really wanted it to go well. Obviously, we want all of our interviews to go well. We put a lot of attention into this one. We was really proud of our questions, and we just had a good time. We knew we connected with him, and we had heard feedback after the fact that he really enjoyed himself. And I think it's kind of new to podcasting. It's funny to see Quentin on everyone's podcast now, because I don't think Quentin did a lot of podcasts before, and now he realizes he loves the format, so he's out there doing it. So Hanks, had kind of said like, "Hey, I liked those guys. They were a lot of fun." And when Otto came back around, we were told like, "Oh, Tom Hanks is going to come back on the show." And like, Jake and Kevin and myself, would, like all of you, just kind of thought like, that's crazy. Like, that's not going to happen. But legitimately, like, as we kept getting closer, they're like, yeah, he's going to do it. We can't wait to get it done. And then, as you saw in the interview, like, he came prepared. He kind of knew who we were. He was ready to play ball and have a good time with us. And gosh, it was just so great to see him dialed in and having a good time with the press thing. I mean, I'll never get over the fact that he told us that you have created a format that makes the press junket, tolerable and fun kind of thing. And that's just incredible. Jake, yeah. I try to imagine being able to revisit Die Hard with Bruce Willis every couple of months, the way that you get to speak to Tom Hanks about Road to Perdition. What is that like?
Well, not even just that, because I've brought up Road to Perdition to Tom Hanks multiple times, and it always yields really great material, because it really does seem, one, like that film really does mean a lot to him, but also like it's a film that a lot of people don't necessarily bring up to him. But there was something about him that day with us. Like, he's never responded about Road to Perdition to me in a way that he responded to all of us. Like that just felt really special. And to hear him even put it as that's one of the films of mine I want people to revisit after I'm gone. It just sort of felt like, as a dude who has been screaming alone from the mountaintop, like watch this movie for 20 years, to hear, like, I remember like being on my bus in high school freshman year, like telling people about this movie. Like, keep in mind, like 14-year-olds don't give a shit about like the new Tom Hanks, Paul Newman movie that just came out in theaters. And so needless to say, I didn't have a big audience, but like I was like the apostle, like screaming about this movie. And the fact that like flash forward 20 years and I'm with my best friends as like talking to Tom Hanks about it, and Tom Hanks is like gushing and solidifying everything that I've ever felt about that movie. It's incredible. It was an amazing feeling.
I want to say this because, you know, we do a lot of interviews for television and for our show. And when something goes really, really, really well, like the Elvis one did, like, and that's one that, you know, went way better than we ever imagined, because we got into conversations about the movies that we wanted to talk about because it came up naturally. Mm-hmm. And I remember all of us saying, guys, do we want to what if we mess it up if we get him again? Like, we didn't want to like botch that feeling of what that first time was like. And then the moment he popped up on that screen, as you guys just heard and saw, the singing, he was just in this beautiful mood. And like, and what I loved about it was like, it just felt like a conversation. Like, it felt like Tom Hanks was a fourth chair or a fifth chair on our podcast. And it is honestly surreal to even contemplate. This is where we
reveal Tom Hanks has been here the whole time. He's now officially the fourth chair.
But in all honesty, if you think about the weight of it, because we are just, you know, we're four friends who started a movie show. Like, at the end of the day, to have Tom Hanks come back to our show, to be on the show once is even insane. But two, we're more of a filmmaker show, right? And Warner Brothers was so great about initially. They were like, you know, for Elvis, like, you know, we could give you Baz or Austin, but we want to try with Tom Hanks. And shout out to Warner Brothers, because they're the ones who kind of got that ball rolling. They also gave us Joaquin Phoenix for Joker. And we weren't really an actor podcast. And now to get someone on like Tom Hanks, and you just start to really see how incredible he can be in a full-blown conversation rather than a 4-minute TV slot. And it was just really special. So I'm not trying to toot our own horns. It was just a really special thing to have. And I'm just glad that we get to share it with the audience. And I hope you guys know how much it means to us to have you guys listening to us, because if we didn't have listeners, we wouldn't have the opportunity to have these guests. So it's kind of a real collective, collaborative thing that we have going on here. So thank you guys.
So here's the point where I put on my marketing hat and I ask everybody who's listening to share this with someone who you know who loves Tom Hanks.
Please do.
And hasn't heard of ReelBlend before, and let them know that these are the types of interviews that they're going to get on the show on a weekly basis. And,
and send it to them. If our shows are an hour and a half sometimes, just say, hey, listen to this 30-minute chunk. See what you think. Just check these guys out for a second. And I mean, I would love that, because I feel like that interview is very it's very spot on as to what our show is. And indicative, he kind of just fit. Indicative is the perfect word. So check it out for sure.
I don't know why, but for some reason I picture your marketing hat as being like a Napoleon hat. For some reason, I just pictured Sean O'Connell and like a Napoleon.
On similar wavelengths. You know those like novelty foam giant cowboy hats?
Yeah.
That's what I was picturing.
You're both wrong. It's more of the fedora with the press card jammed into the side of it. Yeah, ready for a deadline or any type of assignment. Wow. But it's my marketing.
I don't know. The big cowboy hat sings Sean O'Connell.
Instead of a T-shirt, we might sell those.
Cowboy hat. It belongs to the kid. The kid definitely wears a big foam cowboy hat.
Chuckle Club needs to be a thing. We got to figure out how to brand that
shirt.
Because this is in 2023. We're just going to completely rebrand the podcast to Real Talk, hosted by the Chuckle Club.
And Real Talk is what Tarantino called our show. And then he all thought we were from New York. Yeah.
The day we are recording the show is the day after the Golden Globes were handed out. So let's pivot over to Golden Globe reactions and discuss. We could discuss the show in and of itself. I wanted to focus on what I think are the wins and the losses from the evening that actually matter. And to put that into context, and we've had this conversation every time the Globes come back around, in that nobody in the Hollywood Foreign Press Association votes for the Oscars. They're not members of the Academy. So they don't have a direct impact in things that are going to win in the Oscars. But we've always said this. If you win in one of these major awards television shows that take place in prime time, and even something on a Tuesday, which was extremely weird to have the Golden Globes on a Tuesday, and then you end up being in the headlines or the social media posts the following day, it's momentum. You're keeping yourself in the conversation. When someone like Ke Huy Quan wins another award for Everything Everywhere All at Once, it in my mind, and probably in the minds of the people who are listening to the awards conversation and tracking who to vote for, it solidifies that person as a front runner or someone who's more than likely going to lock up a nomination and probably a win. And so I thought that, and Kev, you had mentioned this, the Austin Butler win in the Best Actor category was a legitimate shock to me. And it was even though this whole week from the different awards pundits that I read, the tea leaves, according to them, were saying Butler has a really good shot of winning this, and that there were like two ongoing conversations about his chances. One being he's young, he'll have more opportunities, but the other being, is that really a reason to not award him if you truly think he's the best performance? But last night when he won the Golden Globe in the same category as Brendan Fraser, for the very first time, I allowed some doubt to sort of slip in maybe Fraser doesn't have this as sewn up as I thought it was going to be. And then Austin got up and gave what I thought was a really beautiful speech. And I'm starting to feel momentum swing in his direction and maybe swing away from Fraser. Do either of you guys sort of share that sentiment?
Well, it's what's interesting to me about the Austin win. So I think there's three things that you got to keep in mind with that category, which is what's fascinating about the Golden Globes is they have the musical comedy category and the drama category. It was very smart that Butler was in drama because that there's a certain weight to that category that feels more significant, in my opinion, in terms of like what it does for the Oscar race. Second, we all know Brendan Fraser was, boycotting the show, not going to the show. You start to wonder if that had an effect on it all.
I think it did.
But yeah, and then Cate Blanchett, though, she wins, but I don't remember her being boycotting the show. Maybe she just couldn't be there. Whatever, she was on production. I don't remember what they said. But so that's a second factor. And the third is you got to look out for Colin Farrell here, because Colin Farrell is kind of in that career mode Oscar territory right now. And I think
his speech was charming as hell.
It was great.
It was. And his Banshees performance, I think, is the best performance of his career. I really do. And I think so the question comes down to does the vote split? Because of those, I believe that those three are the front runners, and I think they are all equally in the race. But with Butler's win last night, what I love about Butler's speech is, like, even though he was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he got up there and essentially said, Quentin, I printed out your Pulp Fiction script when I was 12 or whatever. And then he goes, Brad says something to Brad Pitt. And it's like, it's as if he was like, never met these guys. And like, he's just fans of them, even though he kills Brad Pitt kills him in Hollywood. Spoiler alert. Sorry. A
colleague of ours, a friend of ours, Mike Ryan, tweeted that. He's like, didn't Austin have a chance to tell Quentin that story when they were together on the movie?
And I think it's interesting that when I started feeling this love specifically the love for Butler over the past few weeks with the Academy screenings, just hearing the buzz about what people think about it. It is really an incredible performance. And one of the things I really want to point out that I'm really angry about is people online are like giving Austin a lot of crap for sounding like Elvis still. And I don't think people realize that, like, people think he's doing a bit, or if it's like, or he's like they're saying he's still in character. He's been sounding like this since we've talked to him back in May when the movie was coming out. This is not some awards thing where he's just going up there and sounding like he's in character. I think, in my opinion, that the character hit him so hard that it transformed him in a way that I think is just part of his the way he speaks now. I mean, I don't remember how he spoke before.
I don't remember
the role, but he does sound like Elvis now. And I think people were like thinking it was a bit like he was trying to be like method. And I'm like, no, I think we talked to him on and off camera when we were in Memphis, and that's just how he sounds. But now I think he deserves. I think he's definitely a big front runner right now. Now, where are you guys at in terms of your voting? Where are you guys at? Who are you guys voting for CCA?
Do you think Farrell has a chance?
I think Farrell absolutely has a shot. If I'm going to be honest, not to necessarily like shift categories, but to me, the acting race that got the most juice or pushed someone forward the most is Angela Bassett for supporting actress.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah, but see, I thought that was a lock already. It's so interesting.
I thought that, to me, that category was, in my mind, the most up in the air because you have Carrie Condon, who has won the most critics awards up to this point. Carrie Condon has dominated the critics awards. You've got Jamie Lee Curtis, who I would argue Stephanie Hsu deserves the supporting actress out of Everything Everywhere more so than Jamie Lee Curtis.
Agreed. Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
But Jamie Lee Curtis has, as we always talk about, one, she's got the career legacy behind her, but two, people love a Jamie Lee Curtis speech. And I feel like we don't talk enough about the power of making a few good speeches in a row because people just fall in love with you and want, like, honestly, aside from his phenomenal performances, one of the best things going for Ke Huy Quan is just how incredible he is when he takes to the stage every single time.
Yeah, the energy.
I do think that the biggest thing that was working against Angela Bassett was that it was for a Marvel film. Yeah. We're 15 years plus into Marvel, and this is the first time.
But I gotta tell you this,
I don't
want to cut you off, but when I was sitting down with Sean when we watched Black Panther, when she delivers that speech about,
oh sure,
have I not given? I in my brain literally went, oh, she's going to win the Oscar.
Yeah. I don't know if I went as far as she's going to win the Oscar. I definitely thought, okay, that would be her that would be her moment. That would be her clip. But I think, because it's interesting. I feel like someone winning a Golden Globe is almost like the equivalent of trying clothes on at a department store just to see how it feels, just to see what it feels like. And so whenever you get to see a couple of different actors up there on stage holding an award, you almost get to try out what would it feel like? What does it feel like to see that person up there doing that? And I think for someone like Angela Bassett, for a lot of us, felt good. Felt good seeing her up there. A lot of people feel like she's been due for a long time. I think with something like Jamie Lee Curtis, even though they both have the career and legacy, the issue is that I think a lot of people just don't think that the Jamie Lee Curtis performance is necessarily worthy. And for a lot of us, I think I like you guys, walked out of Wakanda Forever going, God, I think I was just a little bit more maybe pessimistic. Like I thought that she was Oscar worthy, but I thought never in my wildest dreams would the Oscars award such a performance.
Yeah. What's cool about it? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. So I feel like this, of all the acting awards, to me, that's the one that had the biggest impact on the direction that we're moving in the award season moving forward.
What is cool about it is that Black Panther was the Marvel movie that broke through the Best Picture.
That's a great point.
For Marvel Studios films, and the Marvel Studios have won a bunch of below the line film awards, but for that to get into Best Picture was significant. Sure. And then so it would be really nice to sort of tie it together and have her become the first Marvel actor to win an award, and for her to be able to get up and pay tribute to Chadwick Boseman as part of that category in that speech, and add more to the legacy of that franchise, I think would be really, really special.
Yeah. What did you guys think of the Banshees win over Everything Everywhere All at Once?
In musical
comedy.
The musical comedy?
Yeah.
It feels to me like the two pure locks, because they feel like the most Academy type movies is Fabelmans and Banshees.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Those are very, very good, like fit the Oscars.
I've been saying for a while that my concern behind Everything Everywhere, and that being said, I do think CCA, I do think we pick Everything Everywhere.
Did it pick too soon? peak too
Oh,
soon?
not even that. I just think it's too weird for a lot of the older Academy voters. And again, I think, sometimes I worry that we, honestly, and I was even saying this yesterday morning to a lot of people in my studio before the Golden Globes came on. I kind of thought Fabelmans was dead. I thought Fabelmans was done. So coming, it sort of surging back into race with the Spielberg director win and the picture drama. I think it's just a reminder that there is a large percentage of these voters that are not reflected in sort of what we often refer to as sort of this film Twitter bubble that we all sort of, are a part of. And I really am concerned that Everything Everywhere might just be, I love what it would represent by being picked if it were Best Picture, but I worry that it's just a little too out there for the Academy voters.
So who got nominated for the DGA today?
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Spielberg, Todd Field, the Daniels.
Cameron? The Daniels.
No, Cameron did not.
Oh wow, Cameron didn't get in the DGA.
Cameron didn't get into the GGA.
I have to know. Wait, who are the five?
So we have Todd Field, Kaczynski, the Daniels, Martin McDonagh, Spielberg.
Okay,
do we start taking Kaczynski seriously as a director candidate?
Yeah, I was actually
I think
shocked.
it's more Todd Field. I think it's more Todd Fields who you start taking seriously.
No, I guess not that Kaczynski was gonna.
People love Tar.
I always thought Todd Field was gonna get a director nomination. I meant Kaczynski to get a director nomination.
Kaczynski was the one out of the five that I was most surprised about. Not that he doesn't deserve it, but it is the out of the five. It is the outlier.
Because we haven't seen him in a lot of the other and he should be in the list.
And weirdly enough, he has the highest grossing film. I bet you Top Gun has made more money than all four of the other filmmakers' movies combined.
See, I think Cameron gets in. I think Cameron's in.
I just feel like
I was surprised Cameron didn't get in.
I feel like Avatar just the X factor of the novelty of it. I mean, it sort of feels like when Peter Jackson, even though he got nominated for Two Towers, remember when Two Towers came out? When Fellowship came out, there was a really real conversation about, okay, is this going to win Best Picture? Is Ian McKellen going to win? Because it was unlike anything we had seen before. When Two Towers came out, there was very much this feel of like, okay, well, he's not going to win for this. Like he's going to, if anything, he's going to win for the next one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it sort of just feels like, yeah, we know you can do this and this is impressive, but like it's an accelerated version of a thing that we nominated you for before.
But it is fascinating though, because it is really the definition of directing. Like when you think about there's so many definitions for directing. We've gotten to this in the show before, but Cameron commanded that film in such a way that I can't believe it wasn't. Again, this is the DGAs. But then today we also had a big surprise with Adam Sandler getting nominated for a SAG. I think it was a great choice. He got nominated for Hustle, and it's funny because it was just great to see his name next to these heavyweight actors.
Well, you know what's great about it too is that it's not like a division of 5 drama, 5 musical comedy. It was just, according to the Screen Actors Guild, the 5 best male performances.
Yeah. Do you guys find it strange that Netflix has been pushing Janelle Monáe so hard, but it was Ana de Armas and Adam Sandler who they kind of left by the wayside, who got in at SAG?
Did Janelle not get in at all?
No.
Wow.
She's been missing a lot.
And Ana de Armas for Blonde is.
I mean, you have to take the SAG nominations. I know we're sort of shifting awards at this point. You have to take the SAG nominations very seriously. Really quick before we move on, a big director name who didn't make DGA, and I'm curious as to how you guys interpret it. Baz not getting in DGA.
Oh, yeah.
That was a surprise. I thought that was a surprise.
I was really starting to feel.
Who do you take out? Who do you take out for Baz?
Well, that's the thing. I think there's 7 to 8 names right now.
Which is why CCA nominates 84 different people.
Wait, so one thing I will say is this, I think Austin and Baz were both genuinely shocked that he won last night. You saw I think it was cool.
Baz seemed it was all pride. I just saw it.
Yeah,
remember, didn't he say with us just for Austin, it's just about getting the nomination?
Yeah.
And so the fact that that was his hope when we got Baz a couple of months ago on the show, and just getting a nomination has turned into holy shit, dude, you could actually win.
So let me ask you guys this. So obviously the Globes, they divide up the genres. So we have Michelle Yeoh taking actress in a musical comedy, and then we have Cate Blanchett taking actress in a drama. Those two appear to be the major frontrunners for Best Actress this year. Where are y'all leaning now with this? Because I feel like it's funny. I would have said Yeoh for until recently, but like I feel like Blanchett has just been like, I've seen her everywhere, going doing like literally everything. Her and Todd doing Q&As. But so, do you really think so? But Yeoh has the story though. Yeoh has the hasn't won yet, and you know. And
okay, I'm gonna counterpoint that though, because I mean, you have to keep in mind, because I think a lot of people are saying, well, it's not going to be Cate Blanchett because it'll be her third, and Michelle Yeoh has the narrative that she hasn't won. They just gave Three Billboards, Frances McDormand, her third Oscar. And there are a lot of instances where actors have had the narrative, whether it be Mickey Rourke or Michael Keaton.
Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser. There are a lot of instances where like the person came into the award season with the narrative of, well, they're due and this is their, you know, Michael Keaton went home empty-handed. Mickey Rourke went home empty-handed. A lot of that I really, the more and more I think about it, the narrative of the career isn't as strong, at least over these last 10, 15 years, as maybe it was in the days of, in the 90s and the early 2000s.
With Blanchett too, like the conversation around her performance in Tar is that it is one of the best performances they've ever seen. Like
it is a masterful performance.
Yeah.
It's
the people
masterful.
who love it are like over the moon for it.
Did you guys see that article about, and it really made me appreciate and love Tar even more. Did you guys see the article about the movie being a ghost story?
Yes,
I did.
Yeah,
that if you, I don't want to ruin the article because it is a brilliant article and it should be looked at on your computer or on your phone because it features a lot of GIFs in there that you need to see. But there are a lot of things hidden in the background of Tar that were, to me, were very reminiscent of Haunting of Hill House.
Oh yeah,
and completely changed my perspective.
It's a brilliant movie.
I'd love to do a interview with them now to bring that up.
Well, there is a scene specifically that gets referenced and this won't reveal anything in case you haven't seen Tar, of when she follows a girl into a building.
Yes.
That is very out of character with the rest of the movie. And I didn't know what was happening when it was going on. And then reading about this article and them getting to the description of that scene and the way that they tie it together, I was like, oh my God, that makes a lot more sense.
I'm so sorry I can't think of the author who wrote it, but if whoever whoever wrote it, just hats off to you. I mean, what a brilliant piece that was.
I'm gonna derail this because now my mind's cooking on like the whole like
I love spicy derail, Kevin.
The theories of things. So I heard a theory recently, and I know this you guys have heard it and it's been out there for a while, that Top Gun Maverick is basically that he dies at the beginning of the film and the rest of the film is kind of like his redemption scenario and his and every time I watch the film now, dude, get this. So this is not my theory, because someone asked Kaczynski about this and he said, he didn't knock it down or say it was confirmed or whatever, but if you watch the movie with that in mind, and I'll tell you exactly where it is. So right when he's in the beginning of the film, when he's doing the Mach 10.0, whatever it is, and then he hits Mach 10.5 and then he ejects. Now, I'm not the kind of person who's going to sit here and say that guy would have died if he had done this and that in a movie.
You're not Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I'm not going to be persnickety about things like that. Like I watch Fast and Furious movies all the time and I don't question stuff. But if somebody ejected themselves out of a plane at that speed, they would be eviscerated. Like it wouldn't, your body wouldn't even it wouldn't even.
I think the argument would be that they had developed an ejection system that made it safe, sort of thing. Like I think
not
you
a 10.5.
You can argue your way around it. You're like, okay, but what,
Kevin? It was just a little push,
right? So so the theory is this. So if you actually watch that scene, it goes to black, and then the next shot is him showing up in that small town asking for that water at the bar, and that kid's looking at him. Rewatch the movie thinking that the rest of it's a dream, and it'll blow your mind. Because think about it, everything is perfectly in place. Penny owns the bar. She's the older friend that he loved but never had a chance to stay with, and now she's back in his life. And there's also the redemption story of Rooster and being able to
for the mission. And
it's
all
like
this jazz.
beautiful. And honestly, it because I love the Penny storyline. I think it's so brilliant. I thought Jennifer Connelly was so great in that. But it does feel dream-like. It feels like, I'm telling you.
When Ed Harris tells him that he's going to Top Gun, he says, your guardian angel is the one who interferes.
Dude, I'm telling you, and then this is not my theory. I can't remember who made this up, but
Pretty cool.
if you watch the film under that mindset, I'm not saying it's true. It actually does play very interestingly, very similar to the Tar theory about the ghost aspect of it. But Kaczynski, I don't think he turned it down. I think he said it's one of those things you can think about.
Directors love to say, hey, listen, it's open to any interpretation.
I just thought about like what would be my moment of like what would be my watershed moment of like where I start dreaming. And do you guys remember when we had Alfonso Cuarón for the very first time for Roma? Do you guys remember that I almost slept through it? I overslept through it. I almost to the point where like I almost missed the interview. Yeah, and I just made it 5 minutes because I was sleeping. What if the whole crazy turn that ReelBlend has taken is and I'm like actually still about to wake up and be like, oh guys, I just had the craziest dream.
That was your Mach 10.5 eject.
And then I'm like throwing out names. I'm like, and then one day we were in London and we interviewed Tom Hanks, but it was after we interviewed James Cameron. But then before we interviewed, and then there was this pandemic thing and everything just got crazy.
You got Nolan to say Dunkirk.
Yeah, Nolan said Dunkirk, but Denzel Washington's son told him he didn't commit.
But also remember, think about the Kilmer scene. That's like that feels like one of those moments. Again,
I think that's the kind of movie it is. It's supposed.
I'm not saying
life affirming.
Every shot was in the golden hour.
Yeah, that's
I'm
just
telling you,
and Lady Gaga sings from the heavens.
I mean,
that's most of my dreams.
The boat scene.
Here's what I'll say. It's
an interesting theory. It's interesting.
I think it's fair to think whatever you want about a movie.
Sure.
For me, if he came out and said, "Yeah, he died and everything was a dream," cuts the movie in half for me.
I disagree.
No, I'm saying for me, cuts the movie in half. I think it's
almost like I just would choose not to believe it in the same way that like I choose not to believe half of what Star Wars crap comes out these days.
Right.
Hey, I caught up on
what
Andor
I understand.
over the break, and boy.
Right. Isn't
Boy, Star Wars is back. It turns out if you just simplify things and go, okay, they're Nazis, we're fighting Nazis, you make a great story.
And bring Andy Serkis into the fold.
Yes.
Because damn, be good.
Sean, I want you to watch Top Gun again with that thought. Tell me what you think.
I will.
It's actually kind of it actually kind of makes it fun. Like it's
I want to point out that from what we understand, Joseph Kaczynski listens to the show. So
So Joe, let us know, man.
Just drop us a DM and say whether this is accurate or not.
Please tell us it's not accurate. I really don't want to hear that it's accurate.
Part of what we love about Top Gun is that it there's a like subtext of nostalgia about the storytelling. I think is why it's so popular. Right. It's a classic blockbuster structure of that story.
Before we move on, I got to mention, I think arguably the biggest surprise of the night was RRR not winning non-English language film. I thought that was shocking.
It lost to Argentina.
It lost to Argentina, which again, I don't think that's a category that like a lot of people were paying attention to, like outside of like film nerds like us. But like RRR really has taken a huge leap in this award season. It's everywhere. People were seeing it in IMAX.
Keep in mind, it's not going to be nominated at the Oscars for non-English language.
Not eligible?
Because it was not.
The country didn't choose it, right?
Yeah, India did not choose it, did not submit it. So it will not win. It will not be nominated for.
That's crazy.
Now granted, it could still be nominated for. It could be nominated for picture, for director, for song, it could be nominated for everything else except international feature.
I do want to tell people out there, if you haven't seen it, it's absolutely phenomenal. It's a one in a kind experience. I've never seen anything like it before in my life. The song, which won last night at the Golden Globes, is great. It's just unlike anything I've ever seen before. You're talking about dancing and singing and insane action and crazy CGI. It's kind of like one of those really crazy, like incredible action films that you just would never expect to see. It is insane. And I recommend seeing it if you haven't had a chance. But right now, I'm telling you, I keep hearing that could surprise a lot of people. That could get a nomination for Best Picture. It really could. People love that movie.
We could get up to 10. You never know. They could go as high as 10 if they wanted to. They tend to go around like 7 or 8, I think, the past couple of years. But we shall see how that all shakes out. I think it's January 24th when the Oscars get announced. So
timestamp this right now. It's January 11th. Best Picture winner. I gotta go with
Question.
Everything Everywhere All at Once still.
Yeah, I'm still gonna lean. Though keep in mind, at this point last year, none of us were considering Coda.
Yeah, it's true. That's the problem. We have too much time. There's too much time now for things to change. This is what happened to
We'll do our
Yeah.
official predictions closer to the show for sure.
I just like the timestamp where we are.
Are we gonna do punishments this year?
Oh yeah.
Ooh, we have to call them that? That seems...
I mean, the
Very
way
Hunger Games of us.
Jake takes it really mean, like
No,
very meanly.
didn't I give you Big Bang Theory?
Yeah.
Yeah,
felt
and
like
that was a
you-
good one.
you took it and ran with it.
enjoying it.
Yeah, but after
Yeah.
you put Human Centipede 4 in my eyes,
That's true.
No, because then the year before, I think I made you watch. Okay, so I think I've won it 3 times because I think I made you guys watch Human Centipede, and then Kevin, I think I made you watch Lost, and then I made you
I
watch
did
Big
watch
Bang.
the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah, at this point, I'm just making you guys watch things that I love.
Yeah.
It's better. That's better. All right.
When did we
let's,
do the burger bet? Was that the first year we did this? Someone had to buy some like
gosh.
dinner for everybody. Had to buy.
oh yeah, that's right.
Shake Shack or whatever.
That's a little more.
Burger.
That's a little more rewarding. I think is that
Yeah.
the loser should buy lunch or dinner.
Well, in
next
the
time
last
we're all
couple years, I
together.
think it was more. We had no opportunity to be in the same city buying each other burgers.
Right.
Also, side note, have we thought about maybe like asking Tom Hanks if they'll want to do we should do like a Q&A screening with him for Road to Perdition, hosted by ReelBlend.
We can have
Well,
that. We
I
can have
mean-
that discussion off air. I don't want to give too many ideas away.
I mean, one of his movies does turn 25 this year.
Couple things
Which
cooking.
one?
Well, we'll talk.
We'll tell you.
We'll talk
we'll tell
off
you
air. We'll talk
Yeah.
off air.
Yeah, we'll talk off air. All right. In the meantime, let's take a quick break, and we'll come back with This Week in Movies. And we are back. Okay, so this week we have 2 movies. Plane, with Gerard Butler opening, which is just a hilarious title for a movie. It's so weird. We're gonna have next week. We're gonna have the folks behind the sequel to Searching, called Missing. And just to speak as somebody who runs a movie website who relies on things like SEO and search terms, these one-word titles are awful. Like the title Plane is really, really bad.
I think it's a great title.
Well, it's funny, but like, like next week's title, Missing, is so hard to. I mean, I know you could just put like Missing movie kind of thing, but
Or
do something that stands out.
To double down on that, even just like discussing movies like that internally with like a team is like something the missing interview, and they're like, what interview's missing? We're missing an interview. Someone forgot a thing.
Also, like I interviewed Butler for Plane, and I said to him, I was like, because I asked him basically like, it's a great direct title that explains what the movie is. Like, what are some of your favorite movie titles? And when he started listing off like great one title words, I'm like, he's 100% right. Speed, Flight, Earthquake, Volcano,
Jaws,
Joker. I mean, there's so many. For some reason, Plane just struck a chord, and people gave it a lot of Finch. You know what I mean?
Hashtag Finch facts.
There's a lot of one title movies, but for some reason, when Plane hit, it was kind of like it just felt goofier. But I actually think it's memorable and great. I love that title. It's awesome. I mean, Flight. Zemeckis' movie was called Flight.
I love that movie.
So do I, but it's called Flight.
Great movie with Denzel.
And Speed. And it's like there's, it's been like that for a long time.
I get it. All right. Coming to both theatrical and also HBO Max at the same time is a remake of the, when was House Party? Was it in the 90s? The original House Party? I don't think it was the 80s.
Was it not the
Let me
80s?
check.
Let me check.
Might be the late 80s.
House Party is coming out.
1990.
This has been 1990.
Yep.
It's been weird
The very
because
late 80s.
it's
Shot in the 80s.
it has a weird sort of symbiosis with the NBA. And from what I understand, I don't know a whole heck of a lot about this movie, but I think it takes place. It's supposed to take place in LeBron's house.
LeBron James produced it.
James's house.
He's a producer on it. Yeah.
But there has been like zero promotion for this movie. Like I don't think I've seen a trailer or a commercial or anything for it.
And it's
I watch a
limited
lot of
theatrical,
NBA.
right? Is it getting a wide theatrical release?
I have no idea.
I don't
It's
know either.
HBO
Can't
Max.
begin
It
to
could be
tell you.
canceled by the time it.
True.
It's gonna
Coming,
come out.
it's actually going to release on Discovery Plus by we get to Friday.
We haven't had a chance to see it. But if you want to check it out, again, theatrical, probably limited, and then on HBO Max as well, too, for you guys to stream. So instead, we're going to send everybody to go see the new Tom Hanks film, as we've discussed at length, with the man himself, A Man Called Otto, and I will turn it over to our resident Tom Hanks expert to tell us what he felt about A Man Called Otto. Jakey, take it away.
I really genuinely loved this movie and was also incredibly surprised by how profound and moving it was. And you should never use marketing to determine how you feel about the movie, because it's not the movie's fault, however it is marketed. But when I think in a similar way that happened with Finch, actually, but I really feel like the marketing, Finch facts, hashtag Finch facts. But I really feel like the marketing for Otto is kind of this like, hey, come see Tom Hanks be a grumpy old man. He's entering the grumpy old man phase of his career, and isn't that funny? He's mean to people. And just sort of like, okay, like, I'm still in, but like, cool, like, looks cute. January release, And then within the first 15 minutes of the movie, I went, oh, this is not that. I mean, there are just some things that he does that you just go, this is not the movie I thought. They did not put that shot in the trailer. They did not put that shot in the, but that being said, it's a very real, raw, honest look at a man's attempt to deal with grief. And I think yes, there are sweet, cute, fun moments that to a degree are hinted at in the trailer. But I think the movie that you're getting is going to surprise you by how, here's what I'll tell you. Whenever I saw the trailer, I thought, oh, that's interesting that Tom Hanks would choose to do that. Like, it doesn't seem like that would be much of a challenge for him in terms of like stretching his acting muscles. And then when I saw the film, I go, that's the movie he signed on for. That's the script that he read. That's the role that made him go, I can do something with it. It made so much more sense to me after I saw the film, because I saw a layered story. I saw a layered character. I saw him put himself through things that I've never seen him do on film before. And look, I'm a sucker. I'm an easy target. I'm fishing a barrel when it comes to emotional Tom Hanks films. So it probably means nothing to anyone listening to say that like I got emotional at the end, but I genuinely felt like it was very real and earned emotion. So I very much loved this film. And when crafting my top 10 list for 2022, the hardest picks are never 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The hardest picks are always 7, 8, and 9, because you've got about 5, 6, 7 different movies you want to squeeze in. And Otto was very much in that conversation for me. It didn't make my top 10, but it was very much in a way of like, God, I wish I could find a way to squeeze it into my top 10, because it really did affect me in a lot of ways.
Have the same.
Yeah, no, I thought it was fantastic. And Mark Forster is somebody that, it's interesting because like based on the trailers, like Jake said, the tone of it was very different. And then, but if you look at Mark Forster's career, it does match tonally with what the movie ends up being. I mean, he's a 100%. Really great dramatic director. Finding Neverland. I love that movie, Stranger Than Fiction. Was that Will Ferrell? Right. That was great.
And that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think one thing I like about this film a lot, and this is something we talked about in my TV interview with Tom Hanks, was about these smaller details of a character that are really fascinating, that lend to you like what you're going to learn about somebody. So when the film opened, I didn't know what we were dealing with in terms of the grief and kind of what is going on with his life and what happened with his wife and things like that. But you start to gauge all of that based on little things like you see him wearing a wedding ring that might not fit. It's too big for his finger. Like he's lost weight. His clothes don't fit him right. And these are all like things that subconsciously hit you, and you start building the story, because before they tell you kind of what's going on, you are kind of almost coming up with the narrative yourself, which is a really interesting way to play with audience immersion, especially if you've only watched the trailer and you don't really know the cycle that he's going through. Also, one of the things I love about the film is just the message it has about, when you open your door to people, you never know how they're going to change your life. And we get in our heads a lot. We think that, everything is this way or that way. And then you meet people who have different lives that completely give you a different perspective on things. And I think at the same time, Hanks is such a famous person, but he still has the ability to disappear in his roles. He becomes Otto. I mean, like, it's a great character. It's really well rounded. It's really well directed. The cast is incredible. Everybody in this film, not just Hanks, everybody is delivering great performances. And I think a lot of people, what's interesting to me, and I'm wondering how this is going to affect the marketing or how the film does. So everyone keeps coming to me saying that they read this book, and it was a 2012 Swedish book. I think it was called A Man Called Ove. Or I don't want to mispronounce it, but then there was a Swedish film called that in 2015.
Right.
And so I think people are like, I'm gathering that a lot of people were finding out, wait a second, wait, A Man Called Otto was based on that book that I read. I didn't know that. And like now they're putting the pieces together. And yeah, I think, Mark Forster really delivers great films. He always kind of really has. I don't love World War Z that much, but I think that
Finding Neverland is a masterpiece.
Finding Neverland's great. And this is definitely this is not an easy film. It's definitely a very real, grounded, very heavy at times, very also fun. I mean, like in our Tom Hanks interview, we did a whole bit about driving stick, but and that's actually a really great scene in the film. But again, that's like a comedic moment mixed within all the drama and the trauma that the character's dealing with. It's really dark. There's some dark stuff in there, like some shots that are kind of like really horrifying to see, especially Tom Hanks do them. So I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was really well done. Surprisingly, it was not the movie that the trailers were leading you on to believe. It's a very different film, and it's better for it, in my opinion.
That's exactly where I wanted to start, is that I was just pleasantly surprised that it wasn't the movie that was sold in the trailers, which seemed like it was going to be a schmaltzy, soft, pull its punches, type of Tom Hanks, as Jake mentioned, Tom Hanks, being the grumpy old man.
Right.
And it's not, as the boys have mentioned, it offers so much more to that. What I find really fascinating about it is that not just with Tom Hanks, but so many of these other actors who we've grown up with are now getting to a point where they're taking on roles that are more age appropriate for them. And how are they going to continue to challenge themselves with material? And you see someone like Harrison Ford heading over to television to do, a Western in the Yellowstone sort of genre. And you see
also
Tom
his
Hanks
new Apple show, a quick sidebar, is one of the best performances of his career.
Get out of here. Really?
Yeah.
This is with
Harrison Ford, the one with him and Jason Segel.
Really? Shrinking? Is that what it's called? Shrinking?
It is. He is phenomenal.
No kidding. That's good to hear.
I didn't even know that was out. Was that out already?
Not yet. I think it comes out next week.
Are they doing press for it?
They did it before Year's End.
Oh, did you do it?
Yeah, but Ford didn't do it.
Oh,
but
Segel,
Segel did. Yeah.
From what I understand, they were surprised that he agreed to do it, right? Because it's Bill Lawrence. I think it's Bill Lawrence who did Scrubs and Ted Lasso.
Yeah, and also the guy who is sort of the grumpy guy in Ted Lasso is also one of the showrunners.
Roy Kent.
Roy Kent is one of the showrunners.
I'm in.
Hercules.
I'm sold. Yeah, Hercules.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to derail. I apologize.
Oh my God, Kev, were you so happy that Hercules was part of the?
Really quick for the Eddie Murphy. There was a lot of Norbit in that Eddie Murphy tribute. There was
also a lot of Nutty Professor.
His most culturally relevant film.
But there was I feel like they barely touched on his 80s stuff.
But they did have a fart.
Heavy
they did have this. They did have.
Okay, but Nutty Professor I'm okay with, but there was so much Norbit in that Eddie Murphy tribute. I'm sorry, we went off the rails. I'm sorry, Sean.
What I forgot is after the fart, the grandma goes, "Somebody call my name."
I'm telling you, man, that scene is. Well, I also want to mention
Tom Hanks listening to our auto review and then just his face as we go off.
He's sitting next to a fireplace. He's got a drink. He's just
He's like typewritering. He's typewritering, whatever that word. Whatever.
Using a typewriter.
What's the person in court? No, the person in court. Who's the person in court? Stenographer.
Stenographer. Well done. Well done.
Also, I know this is off the rails here. I want to shout out the montage they did for Ryan Murphy.
Oh my God, the
fantastic.
Ryan Murphy thing was
That was-
fantastic.
I was blown away by for people who are maybe skipped and are tuning into the show later. We were talking about the Golden Globes earlier, and they did a tribute to Ryan Murphy. And I know Ryan Murphy. I know the shows he's involved in, American Horror Story, and all these things. But good, his career, that montage, that was unbelievable. It was probably one of the best. I had never seen. I didn't know he was involved in all that. I had no idea.
Was amazing.
All the different people that he had affected, and and then man, I felt like the whole night, it was 6 degrees of Ryan Murphy. Everybody there was somehow tied to him in some way. And the Billy Porter's introduction to him was incredible. That was insane.
That why I loved that speech is because he got up there and didn't do the laundry list of
Right. It wasn't about him.
He brought up every person he worked with, but then like he's like, this person is from Orlando, Florida. And they got through this. And I was like, it was just so beautiful.
Yeah.
So I wanted to mention that earlier during the Golden Globe shadow. That whole segment was fantastic. All right.
Side note. Yeah.
Yeah. Side note. Back around to Tom Hanks and A Man Called Otto. I echo everything the guys said. It's really terrific. It's much better than the trailers suggest. It's still a hard film to market. I understand why Sony was up against the wall because it's far more dramatic and dark, as the guys have said, that going into it. But it's great to see Tom Hanks continuing to sort of challenge himself by taking on complicated roles like this. And I do want to emphasize too that there is a element to the film that tells the backstory of Otto, which is very important to where he is. And it's Tom Hanks' son who is playing the younger version of Otto.
Truman?
I think it's terrific casting. Well, it's not Chet. I think it's terrific casting. I was so invested in that backstory. And a lot of times those scenes are included just for like, not gimmicky, but like,
but
you
he
have
was
to cram some
great.
narrative in it. That subplot was fantastic.
Oh,
I was
that
so
whole
involved in
train
it.
scene was incredible. Like
Yeah,
the
bus.
book.
Yeah. Okay. No, there's a bus later.
Yeah, the bus is later, but the train scene and also like one of the things I love about that film. I want to mention Thomas Newman's score. Right? Didn't Thomas Newman score the film? And because Newman did Road to Perdition, and he also did Green Mile. Yeah. So if you're a score person. Hanks loves scores, and like he told me a great story about when he got to sit down and listen to James Horner's score for Apollo 13 for the first time, and what it was like to hear that Ron Howard's film set to Horner's music. And he said nowadays he doesn't even watch his films until the score's done. Wow. Because he wants it to be a part of it. But like Thomas Newman's score, and again, like when you have a history with a composer like that, someone who really gets you, even though the performances and the characters are different. But you look at Road to Perdition and Green Mile and this, he's an incredible composer. And it's also a really, really great part of the film as well. Like the movie is really well done. Like it's well directed, well scored, well written, well acted, it is really great. And I think people will really enjoy it.
This is the point of the show where we normally transition into the blend game. There's no blend game this week, as we were not here in order to announce last week what this week's game is going to be. But next week, just to set it up for you guys, we're going to be discussing our most anticipated movies of the year. Gabe, 1? Can we do 3?
No. Yeah. No, you guys on the show, we're going to be discussing, I think we usually do your top 5, and then I round it to what ReelBlend's top 5 is. But
we want to hear from the people.
For the sake of the blend game, just send us your number 1 most anticipated.
All right. And here's how we're going to do this for you guys. Hashtag most anticipated 2023. And then tag at ReelBlend for us. So we're not going to put blend into the hashtag. It just got to be too unwieldy. So it's hashtag most anticipated 2023 and then tag at ReelBlend. Or of course you can send us your pick at ReelBlend at cinemablend.com. You were throwing something in?
Well, not at Real. Yes. Sorry. ReelBlend at cinemablend.com.
Yeah. So ReelBlend at cinemablend.com for sure.
Right. I should all have that bookmark by it. We should be in your address book.
Yeah. And if you're just finding us, go back and listen to any of our older interviews. Like we've been around for 4+ years now. And if you just came to our show because of this Tom Hanks interview, or maybe Del Toro you got locked on with recently, just go back in our catalog. We have a lot of it on YouTube. Obviously it's all up on iTunes and Spotify and things like that. But yeah, go back, take a listen to our older stuff before we got semi-polished is where we are now.
Don't go too far back.
Is this our 5th season? Would you say this is our 5th season?
Yeah.
That sounds right. Was it
on season 5?
It was 2018.
Is this season 5?
First year?
I thought it was the end of 2017.
Right. The COVID year is like a wash.
No, the COVID years. We're still in the COVID years.
Yeah, it was like a red shirt year for.
Dude, that was the year we got Nolan. I can't be a red shirt.
Wait, did we? I think we started end of 2017 into 2018.
No, beginning of 2018. So our first episode, our welcome to the show, was January 8th, 2018.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah.
That was awards blend. That was our first.
That was our. Yeah, I guess we would have been awards blend.
So wait, this is season 6.
5.
Wait, so 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22,
Oh yeah.
23. Season 6.
Wow.
God, someone's got to die by the end.
Our first review,
Dib's not it.
Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Oh, really?
Wait, but no. We did shows. I think we did award shows in December before that about like the award season before we came on to ReelBlend.
So kind of like we're like the Simpsons. Like we were a part of the Tracy Ullman show for a while, and then we became the Simpsons.
No, I mean,
I have the original email when Sean actually asked me to be a part of the.
No. I mean, our welcome to the show for Awards Blend #1. Welcome to the show was January.
Wow.
Started the beginning of the year.
Wow.
We were conceptualizing it in December. We had gotten together and planned, and maybe we did some rough ones or something like that. Maybe that's what you're thinking of.
All right. So in the meantime, if you want to follow us on social media, we are at Jake's Takes.
Oh, did you plug the
TV.
premium? Premium returns on Monday.
Oh no, I didn't. For the
Yes.
next premium episode, we're going to be doing this is a fun one. We're going to be doing the results of the 2022 fantasy draft. Now, this took place so long ago.
Yeah, about a year ago.
I hardly
I don't even
remember
remember
that
what we picked.
that we did it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
It's
Gabe
gonna be
is
fun.
really
So-
excited about this.
So Monday, the episode that's going to drop is going to be all of our results. We're going to go through everyone's pick round by round and sort of reveal the scores as we go. I think it'll be fun. And then we'll do the draft for this year. The week following is the plan.
Oh God.
But I might have some change ups. I might do some different things. This was the first time we did it last year, so we might have some other ways of handling it. But it's I will say I have to do another sweep to make sure none of the scores have changed. But it is incredibly close race for this one.
Extremely loud.
Did you guys?
as well?
I'm going to be screaming. Yeah. Did you guys place a bet on this? Is there a?
I
Not
don't
that I
think.
remember.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
that I
maybe before we
remember.
record tomorrow, we'll think of a wager.
Oh.
I don't remember if we did. I'll go back and see.
Whoever loses has to host Sean's book Q&A.
You're both on the hook for
We're
those.
both doing that. I mean, Gabe, you want to? Yeah, Gabe has to come do my DC one if I win or something. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll be back next week with a brand new episode. And again, that premium that Gabe mentioned drops on Monday. So until then,
Hockey pads and Hubie and Oppenheimer and Dunkirk.
Louis Leterrier.
What? Like the guy who did the Incredible Hulk?
Yeah, he directs
Yes.
Fast X this year.
Oh, I forgot.
Louis
Oh, my-
Leterrier.